Hey guys, it's Rich. Got another video for you on the instructor station. Got some feedback from some instructors that the stuff underneath the UPRT button isn't real intuitive, so I thought I'd throw another video together to show you how it works. So we'll select the UPRT. The page that typically comes up is Maneuvers and Scenarios. That's your top button. If it doesn't come up automatically, you can just select that top button, Maneuvers and Scenarios. These are all the ones you'll see in the dig for upset recovery. For example, the current recurrence cycle calls for 20 degrees nose down, 125 degrees angle of bank. We'll select that. It's left or right, depending on which bank angle you might want to switch it up for the different crew members. Select the altitude. Right now this cycle calls for 10,000 feet. Once that's all in there, just hit execute. The sim will position itself. There'll still be some sound going as it's repositioning that might throw the crew off, make them think they're flying. Just let them know they are frozen. Back at the instructor station, you just have to wait for the freeze button to light up. Once it does, you can go ahead and cut them loose and start the recovery. Alright, now we'll talk about the next recurrence cycle. In the 743 coming up, and eventually the 643, the next scenario is 30 degrees nose up and 60 degrees angle of bank. So go ahead and select that one. Again, select left or right if you want to change it up for the different crew members. We'll choose right this time. Choose your altitude again, 10,000 feet, and then hit execute. Again, the sim will position itself in the proper position. And they'll come up frozen. When you're ready, just cut them loose and let them start the recovery. Alright, next thing we're going to talk about is the other side of the screen, the scenario-based training. Left and right bank, that's your typical wake turbulence scenario. So we'll choose left bank, and then you have light, moderate, severe across the bottom. Light is very light, so most likely the dig will call for moderate or severe. Just select it. When you're ready to give it to them, hit activate. This is an example of what a moderate wake turbulence would look like. All right, the next buttons are airspeed decrease and increase. In this case, we'll choose airspeed increase. Along the bottom, light, moderate, and severe. Severe is about a 50 to 60 knot increase. I'll go ahead and show you that. Hit execute once you're ready. And you can see the airspeed indicator. You'll see about a 50 to 60 knot sudden jump. And of course, you'll see increasing performance wind shear pop up. Now we'll choose an airspeed decrease. This time we'll try moderate. That's more like about a 30 knot change in speed. Hit execute. And you'll see not quite as severe, about a 30 knot decrease in speed. All right, the next page I'm going to talk about under UPRT is called the synoptic page. When you pull that up, you'll see a display of the yoke and the rudder pedals. Along the left-hand side, you have the speed brake, and then to the right of the yoke, you see the throttles and the flap lever. This gives you a real-time display of how the controls are being manipulated by the pilot. I'll go and start moving them around. You see across the bottom, you see a percentage of aircraft nose up or nose down, left wing down, right wing down. The green numbers on the controls, I haven't gotten a good answer on this, but based on experience, it seems like it's the amount of force that's being applied to that particular control. So the harder they push on it or pull on it, the bigger the number will be. The rudder pedals, as you move those around, same thing, you'll see a percentage of movement. Along with that green number shows you how hard they're pushing on the control. There are times it might be useful to pull this page up, maybe during a B1 cut. You can see if they're jamming the rudders back and forth, even though they swear they're not. So it does come in handy sometimes. The next page I'm going to pull up is PFD. This gives you a real-time indication of, on the left-hand side, indicated airspeed. At the bottom there, ground speed, radio altitude, heading, barometric altitude, and vertical speed. All right, next page I'm going to talk about is the alpha beta plot. Across the bottom you can see that side slip. So the dot should stay pretty close to the aircraft symbol unless they're kicking the rudders, and then you'll see it side slip left or right. Up and down is angle of attack. So if they start pulling into, say, an accelerated stall, anytime that dot exits the dotted box, you'll hear a stall warning. So I'm going to go ahead and give an example of what you'll see once you cut loose. In this case, we're saying that the person is kicking full right rudder to try to get it back to wings level. You can see the side slip go way off to the side. Now they're kicking left rudder, and you can see again side slip go way off to the side. Along the way, you can see it exited the box, so you got some accelerated stall indications. And then it settles back out in the middle. You can go ahead and take a look across the bottom of the screen. You got some good indications there, G-loads, angle of attack, and some good debriefing points right there. Cyclic rudder use, angle of attack, rudder. All right, next page I'm going to talk about is the VN plot. You can see from left to right is indicated airspeed, and up and down is G-load. So in this case, I'm going to push too hard, get some negative Gs, pull too hard, and get an overspeed. Once we start moving, you can see push too hard, so you can see the G's go down to almost -1. Airspeed's increasing. You can see the positive G's jumping up to over 2. Now it's coming up on the overspeed. As soon as it goes through that dotted line, the overspeed warning goes off. In this case, pulling again very hard, and the G-load goes up even higher. As it starts to settle back out, you can see the G-load come back toward 1G, and then the speed starts working its way back toward the dash line. Once it goes below the dash line, the overspeed warnings go away. And again, across the bottom, take a look. You got your min and max G-loads, indicated airspeed, side slip. On the right-hand side, you got some good debriefing items, angle of attack, rudder, airspeed. Those are all things you can bring up to the crew. All right, there is also a button under UPRT that will display all 4 pages together. It's toward the bottom there. It'll give you your alpha beta, your VN, synoptic, and PFD page all at the same time, so you can keep an eye on all of it and check out your debriefing items. Typically during upset recovery, I usually have these 2 pages up, the alpha beta and the VN. That way I can get some feedback. I'm usually watching the crew as they do it, and then afterwards I'll look back at the screen and see if there's anything that's worth mentioning to them. Okay, now let's talk about the recording function underneath UPRT. Down at the bottom, you'll see a button that says Reset Record. You can go ahead and reset it. It is programmed underneath UPRT that once you position them, the recording restarts once you unfreeze them. But if it's not working right, you can go ahead and reset it. So let's say you go ahead and release them, they do their recovery, and now you're ready to show them something that they messed up, let's say. So you can come back here and go to Review Mode, select Review Mode, and then it'll bring up a couple of options. Select Auto Replay, and then it gives you options for the speed of the replay. In this case, we'll just say regular speed, ×1. Once you hit that, it'll start doing the replay. And you can point out whatever you needed to point out to the crew, whether it was cycling the rudders or hard rudder use, angle of attack, whatever it might be. During my 743, we were playing around with this recording function, and Chuck came up with the idea, I wonder if you can record other stuff. So we gave it a try, and it does work. Let's say you got a crew set up for a V1 cut. So go to the UPRT button. Down at the bottom, you see the Reset Record. Go ahead and press that once you're ready to reset the recording. Now, this is not something you'd use all the time, but if someone's having difficulty, it might be worth showing them sitting at the instructor station what they're doing wrong. So you go back and hit Review Mode like I showed you earlier. I picked Auto, ×1 for regular speed. And the recording starts playing. Now keep in mind, depending on when you hit Reset Record, it may take a few minutes. If you clear them for takeoff and they took a little bit of time to get going, it'll just sit here at 0 airspeed for a little bit. Once they get moving, you'll see the ground speed start picking up. All right, you can see the ground speed coming up here. I probably have the PFD page up on one and the synoptic page up on another. But in this case, I'm going to use the 4-item just because it's easier to zoom in and record. You can see the airspeed starting to come up toward V1. Here's V1. You can see the engine failure. The rudder starts going in. And rotate. The nose starts coming up off the ground. So it might be good if somebody's having difficulty, they're doing the same thing over and over again, to bring them back, have them stand at the instructor station. You can point some things out to them. Maybe it'll sink in a little bit better. You can pull up a particular page like the PFD. You can show them their airspeed, heading control, the synoptic. You can show them their rudder inputs if they're cycling the rudder. Might give them some good feedback, help them out with their next V1 cut. Of course, I had to bring back Mad Dog Panda. If you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, let me know. Any questions on UPRT procedures, contact Dale and his group. That's Hayes, Matthew Pass, and Dave Cooperman. That is it for now. Thanks for watching.